Rob, are you here?
I'm here. I'm
Hey,
here.
how you doing,
I
Rob?
mean, I'm not in Texas, but I'm here with you on
So where
on, on
where is
BCB
here?
Live.
Where is here for you?
I'm in Chicago, and our team did not win last night, so
Ah,
No, that that's okay.
y'all
I
did,
didn't
yeah.
realize
Y'all,
it
you
was.
know what? He owns your team, Green Bay.
He
They
sure
own your
does. I
team.
mean, I think he's 26-5 in his or 21. I don't know. He does own us, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, yeah. So
All
we can.
right.
Hey,
Well,
Rob. So
I,
do
I,
us a little
I
favor. Do us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and who you work for and how long have you been doing it.
Okay, so I work for a company called BWS Logistics. We are a 3PL. I've been here since 2000, just over 2 years. I have a long history in transportation, though. I worked for a company that produces shows for 12 years before that called GES. When COVID happened, that's kind of folks forced me to pivot a little bit into another realm of things. But I mean, I've been doing transportation since the basically the mid 80s. Started with the airlines, went into freight forwarding, and then on from there. But I'm happy to be here with this company. It's a great company. We're growing at a very high trajectory from when I started, and we're doing great.
I got a real quick question before we move too far, Rob, and I just want to ask. I don't want to jump too far in it. Number one, how did you hear a little bit? Because I've got a little feeling you've known a little bit about BCB Live over the last few couple of months, right?
Yeah, I have, and I enjoy watching, especially because I'm a America's Funniest Videos fan. To watch your videos at the end, that where you guys talk about the safety things, because it's very practical, and there's some great points in there. There's so many obvious things that people should be doing that they don't do.
And I just wanted to know. I personally,
he's trying to toot his own horn, and you know
I'm
what?
not either, Rob. I'm just saying.
Actually, I saw a picture of you with a St. Louis Cardinals jersey on one time, and I said, I got to check these guys out. Wasn't that you?
Oh, that's Buckle Up
That
Bob.
is
That
Bob.
is Buckle Up
Okay,
Bob.
somebody was on there with a Cardinals jersey, and
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Buckle
I'm
Up
a
Bob.
Cardinals
He's our
fan. Sorry.
resident
St. Louis.
safety expert, and he
All
loves
right.
those Cardinals, man. Love
Yeah,
them.
so I knew it was somebody on your show had that anyway, but yeah, you had a friend of mine on, Raquel Packets, and
Okay, yep.
Oh yeah.
that's kind of when I started following you guys, and she does a great job.
Hey, talk to us a little bit about BWS. First of all, what's that stand for? BCBs, be safe, communicate if you can, be on time. BWS is?
Stands for Bringing Winning Service. When we started out, we were very heavily involved, and we still are, in the beverage industry, which stood for beer, wine, and spirits. We do so many more commodities, though, that this March we rebranded. It's still BWS. It's just changed to Bringing Winning Service. And as I said, we handle so many different commodities that we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves. And as a sales guy that I am, it was I won't say it was a little bit of a roadblock, but when I would finally get an introduction into a door for a customer, they'd be like, you're a great guy, we really like you, but we have nothing to do with the beverage industry. And I would say, hold on a second, we do more than that. So it just made more sense. Our logo used to be literally a beer, a glass of wine, and then a martini glass, which was a good logo.
You know what? Heck of a logo. I'll be honest with you. Probably one of the better
Yeah.
logos that's out there. So business. Let's talk a little bit about last year. We had COVID last year. You're talking about you having to pivot, but you as a business at BWS, did you have to pivot as well? Did you go from a truckload, and did some of your freight volumes shift around?
Yeah, we were doing more of the truckload and whatnot, and with the crazy times of drayage, we were already doing a lot of that, but we got way more into it, and we've really become as a company experts. I mean, when I started here, I didn't know the term street turn. I didn't really know what that was, and so I mean, we are our whole team is just very into drayage, both including long haul dray, short haul dray, cross dock, you know, slip sheet, clamp lifts. We do it all. So we're very involved with that. And again, we do it for the ports as well as for most of the rail ramps. But we're what we do is we try to put forth problem solving thing for a lot of the big international forwarders and some of our other customers, where we can manage the process for you, where we have a stable of 17 different people in a given port, and we got 5 of those that are our top performers, and uh, we just, like I said, we manage the process for you and take that problem off your plate.
Hey, so I don't think I need to go back to last year. Let's just go back to, say, first quarter. What are challenges today, whether it's moving containers today versus that first quarter? What have you seen?
I mean, there's still, depending on the port you're talking about. First quarter, it seems to be a little bit more difficult, and with chassis for some of the locations, it seems to loosen up a little bit. I'm not saying the job is easy by any means. There's still challenges every day, and we do stuff. We do gen sets, which are with the reefers. So um, we do a lot of those. We do hazmat loads. We also do export loads, where we'll pick up the empty, go fill it up somewhere, and then drop it back at the port. So if you can think of something that can go wrong, it'll go wrong. Whether it be a hold on something that you planned on getting, trying to make sure it was cleared, you'll get there, and there could be a damage to a chassis. There could be. It's never easy, and I use this line for a lot of things. If it was easy, they wouldn't need us. So.
Did you, Rob? I'm just going to ask. Have you noticed any? So right now, I'm just curious. The service, the service that the rail is providing across the country is less than desired, right? In your experience, is what's going on right now? Their on-time service is down dramatically over the last year.
It seems to be there are some backups and some delays. You plan on a certain time for it to be there, and you just have to keep watching for the arrivals, and they do seem to get pushed back. But conversely, I will say that I see a lot more of the containers that have gone from just port pickups to where they are trying to get them closer to where the final delivery is, so that it doesn't turn into a cross dock. For example, something may come into um, Long Beach, and they may put it on the rail to Edgerton near Kansas City because it's going to a nearby location. So they are trying to get it to the final destination a little bit more, and that's one of the things I've seen. But yeah, there's definitely some delays. There always is.
You and I were speaking before we got onto the show, and I think drayage plays a big role in the inventories we're seeing across this country right now. Give me a little feedback on, when we talk inventory, we talk these warehouses at capacity, because you're a drayman, those folks that are delivering those boxes for you. I mean, they're the ones that are facing these challenges, maybe long detention times, maybe struggle, longer unload times. Do you see inventory still as high as we've ever seen it across the country?
Well, I think I worked for a company a long time ago, and one of the owners would tell me that when a recession is coming, you'll see warehousing go up, and it's kind of been true with that, combined with the overordering that happened post COVID. There are still a lot of warehouses full. I think there will be some sell-offs from some of the stuff that's been overbought. That's just packing these warehouses. I think the square footage costs are going up. I've got a customer whose stores in the Santa Rosa area, who's the square footage price there is so great, we're actually going to move multiple loads to a warehouse in Nevada just because it's cheaper there. So I think a lot of these places are still busting at the seams, but we have great relationships with with the warehouses that we work with, and we communicate extremely well so that they know when we're going to show up for our deliveries, and that helps us avoid any real lengthy delays. But I mean, the port delays are going to be there. We had the AB5 and everything else going on, and all those struggles. But I mean, we work through it. We roll with it.
Hold on a second. You brought up AB5. Are you seeing any challenge with AB5 out in California then since the announcement of that?
I don't think it's right now, but I think it is going to kind of rear its ugly head a little more when the deadline comes, where some of these guys can't utilize trucks that they were using in the past because of the age of them, or because of the ruling and whatnot. So I mean, we're not having any trouble right now. As a matter of fact, some of these carriers that were some of our partners who were maybe having some higher rates before are coming to us now saying, "Hey, what do you got out here? What do you got out here?" So we're not seeing a lot of that right now. It was definitely a challenge both in Long Beach and Oakland when that happened.
And I don't know. I was also going to ask you because I've actually been to some of the rails. In January 1st, they got some new CARB rules coming into effect also out in California, if I'm not mistaken. They've also got some coming to come out there and affect some of the equipment that's already out there working. Have you heard any rumblings about that, especially a lot of those guys that are going to be directly affected by those new CARB rules?
Yeah, it has to do with sometimes the age too of the engine, and one of the guys that we were talking to just last week in Los Angeles, who also has a drayage company in Savannah, he's going to shift some of the equipment that he can no longer use in California, especially because their rules are stronger than anyone's to another location.
Wow. Are there and here we're going and here we are BCB, but let's talk a little bit about safety. Are there any different safety factors or problems that you see in drayage as opposed to just regular truckload?
It's you definitely have to know what you're hauling. You have to know to the weight of what you're hauling, and sometimes you have to know where the weight's at on there as far as the axles, as you guys know. It's so there's not a lot of difference there, but you definitely want to make sure you know what you're hauling and the weight of it. That's really the only difference. The other difference, I guess, is if you're hauling a live load, you've actually loaded that truck and you know where you put the straps or the bars and whatever else. But when you're hauling a sealed container, it's a little bit of an unknown. So you have to kind of try to know that stuff up front, and maybe hit a scale to find out where the heavy spots are.
And as a 3PL company, how does safety incorporated into what you do and when you communicate with your drivers out there and the people that
Oh
you do
God,
business with?
even though like we don't have a dock and I don't, we communicate that super well through our clients to find out exactly what it needs. We'll get pictures if it's on wheels. We'll let them know. We have a lot of policies in place for our customers where they actually have to send us pictures. We ask for pictures. I recommend, for example, even from an import standpoint, when you open it, if you crack a door open on a container, document it. Take a picture of it. What's it look like when you open it? Then you process it. But we do a lot of education with our drivers. We document things on our rate cons or load tenders, you want to call them, to let them know what is required and what we need them to do so that it is safer. For example, if you're handling a lumber load that's super heavy, you may only put 3 bundles on that truck and it maxes it out. And you can't put it all the way to the nose because of the balance of the trailer. So you have to put a few straps 10 feet in, then you put your product in, then you put a few more straps behind it, so it kind of balances it out. But it's all about keeping the communication open and educating the drivers and your dispatchers as to what is required. And again, what are you hauling? What's the commodity? We do that, and if we're going to post something on any of the boards, we also put that all in there too, so that all the stuff is known up front for what the requirements are. But we even teach. I mean, I'm old school, so I mean, something as simple as shrink wrapping all the way to the bottom of the skid. Some people just, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We don't do that. They'll shrink wrap all the boxes, but if it's not attached to the skid, all the product can slide off back and forth. So just simple things like that. And again, straps and E-track, load bars, all that stuff. We try to educate them and dictate or communicate to them. We don't dictate to them. We communicate to them what our needs are, what our requirements are. And it's usually both an extension of what our customers advise us of, and it's also our expertise to know what's going to need to be done to keep that product and the driver and the truck safe.
Gotcha. Rob, I try to dictate to him all the time, but it doesn't do any good. So it probably wouldn't work anyway, just so you know. Hey,
oh, well, drivers are going to be drivers too. So I tell you, we can tell them everything we need them to do, but sometimes trying to get even a signature on a POD is a challenge. But we try. We keep trying.
Rob, you have an operations background. I can tell off of just talking to you. How has that helped you become a better salesman?